Frisco Chronicles has become a civic toxin. How weaponizing recovery stories corrodes public trust, fuels stigma, and undermines the health of our Frisco community. Written by Shepherd of the Hounds. There are things we can disagree about: the shape of our city skyline, the best place for barbecue, which road project should go first. But there are some things that are not up for debate, not if we care about truth, about lives, and about the community we claim to serve. One of those things is this: weaponizing someone's recovery journey for public amusement or political leverage is not journalism. It is malpractice. What I saw from Frisco Chronicles, Frisco Whistleblowers in their stigmatizing, mocking portrayal of an individual in lifetime recovery, was more than unprofessional. It was a textbook case of how an outlet can throw away every ethical standard, every shred of civic responsibility, and every known public health safeguard in exchange for the fleeting satisfaction of a public spectacle. If there was any glee in pressing publish, it should have been replaced by the sobering reality of what this kind of content does to people in recovery, to followers who have family in recovery, and to the public's trust. Indictment by standards. The Society of Professional Journalists, SPJ Code of Ethics, says it plainly: minimize harm. It does not add, unless it's entertaining, unless they've been arrested before, or unless they're unpopular. Addiction is a chronic medical condition. The National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, the American Society of Addiction Medicine, ASAM, and the CDC agree. It changes brain circuitry, recovery is nonlinear, and relapse does not equal moral failure. The piece ignored all of this. It mocked, it moralized, and it paraded decades-old records without the clinical or contextual lens needed to inform the public honestly. It violated SAMHSA's language guidelines, which exist precisely to keep media from perpetuating the stigma that keeps people sick. Here's what they did instead: replaced accuracy with insinuation, replaced proportionality with overexposure of irrelevant historical detail, replaced harm minimization with entertainment value, replaced context with character assassination. These are not small lapses. They are breaches of the core principles that separate journalism from gossip. Evidence and theory. From a public health ethics standpoint, proportionality means the potential harm of publishing a person's health-related history must be outweighed by the necessity of that information to the public interest. That bar is high, reserved for imminent danger to public safety, corruption in office, or public deception about a current role. That standard wasn't even close to being met here. Instead, the outlet modeled exactly what social learning theory warns against: the contagion of contempt. When influential voices ridicule someone in recovery, it gives others permission to pile on, imitate the shaming, and normalize cruelty toward those most in need of dignity and support. That's exactly what happened on the Frisco Whistleblowers Facebook page. This is why stigma kills, through suicide, through overdose, through untreated illness, and why ethical standards exist in the first place. Moral accounting. The tone and structure told me everything I needed to know. The authors were operating from antagonistic posturing and moral grandiosity, with a need to control the narrative and distort facts to fit an adversarial frame. That's the behavior of someone maintaining their ego by publicly diminishing others. It's what psychologists refer to as ego maintenance through social comparison. The writer has low empathy, inflated self-perception, and a reliance on humiliation as influence. It's the same rationalization I've seen in moral disengagement theory, where perceived authority is used to justify eroding another person's dignity. Underneath that posture, I see a brittle satisfaction in amplifying flaws and reviving past transgressions. The relish in condemnation, the absence of constructive purpose, and the fixation on casting others as irredeemable point to projection of personal insecurities and an in-group bonding ritual built on shared derision. It's the emotional signature of immaturity masquerading as authority, and it corrodes both discourse and community trust. This isn't just about the person they targeted. It's about the precedent you set when you tell a community that someone's health history is fair game for sport. Recovery is not a trophy to be paraded, nor is it a scarlet letter to be worn for life. It's a process. It's work. For many, it's survival. Shame-based spectacle undermines that survival. It sends a clear message to others in recovery: no matter what you do, you'll never outrun your worst moments. Someone will drag them into the light for their own amusement. That is a message no responsible outlet should ever send. And to those who stood alongside, endorsed, or amplified the outlet's framing, your association with this conduct is an endorsement of its harm. Whether you intended it or not, you lent your credibility to a story that will be used to justify more stigma, more exclusion, and more silence from people who need help.